How young is too young for women to be dating a man of your age? I wish Ross and Eric were still here. It would be interesting to
Oh,
get a perspective from someone in his 80s.
I got, trust me, I got you all beat. Definitely got you all beat.
Well, maybe you
Um,
can go first. Maybe you could, personally, I was saying this earlier, maybe you heard it, but I was saying like 21 to 25, well, under 25. That just annoys me. It's just a different kind of person you're dealing with compared to 25 and over. Just like I would just prefer someone who's more, for me, it's more to do with maturity. I don't have time to deal with some 20-year-old's insecurities and all this Snapchat type of shit. So you go younger than 25. How annoying are they, Michael? I want to know that first.
it's not a no, like. Listen, this is like one of the top criticisms people give me. My girlfriend was 20 and I'm 46. I don't give a fuck what people think. She likes sports. I like sports. She likes SEC football. I like SEC football. She likes fucking rescuing animals, and so do I. The girl I'm seeing now is 23 years old, and I'm 47. I don't. It doesn't. And by the way, here's the thing: I'm not going out searching for women under 25. They're searching for me because I am an established human being who stays in good physical condition, and I sound like I sound competent and relevant. I have access to scarce networks and scarce locations, and I have pre-selection and social status. Because of that, there's no the idea of things being age appropriate. I don't know if you guys watch the show Suits. Harvey Specter in the show Suits. One of the things that bugged the shit out of me about that show is they kept putting Harvey Specter, who's this 40-year-old, super good looking attorney who makes $1 million a year in Manhattan. They kept putting him with age appropriate women on the show. And it just drove me nuts because I know guys like Harvey and they're not 40-year-old men dating 40-year-old women. There's nothing wrong if you want to date a 40-year-old. My point is, if you are a viable, strong, man who's in really good shape, expect very young women like 20, 21 through 25 to find you attractive and to want to go out with you. And when they do, don't feel any guilt or weirdness from your family or judgment from society when it happens because it doesn't make any fucking difference what other people think. And I got one thing. This is probably the most controversial evolutionary stat that I bring up. Ready? There is this thing called geriatric pregnancy with women over the age of 35. You start seeing a rise in the level of say autism and different disorders that happen when women have children over the age of 35. Part of the reason why this is because women, when they are having children over the age of 35, are almost exclusively having it with men who are the same age or older than them. There's a function that happens with women who are under the age of 25 where they can repair the genetics, the DNA of men who are over the age of 35. And therefore, you see often less complications when older men are having sex with much or having children with much younger women. And you don't see the opposite. It is like quite simply probably the most misogynistic double standard in biology. Older men can have sex with younger women and have healthy children, and it generally doesn't work the other way around. And if you have a problem with anything I said, look up the fucking data for yourself. It drives people crazy. It drives people crazy whenever I say this. So the idea that as an older man, and by the way, there's another evolutionary psychology study that shows that in every society, in this study they looked over 37 different cultures, and this is everything from Norway, Mexico to Aboriginal Indians and Yanomamo Indians in Venezuela. When in all these different societies, as a man gained in socioeconomic resources or he gained in status, the difference in age between he and his wife always increased. Always. This is just a function of evolution. So there is nothing wrong if you want to date a girl who's 25 years younger than you. But the reason why women don't want to date men who are 25 years older than them is because most men in this country who are 25 years older are obese. They're obese and they have low testosterone and they are generally weak, frail human beings. That's generally the reason why. So that's the whole thing I'm saying. This whole age appropriate thing is utter and complete nonsense.
I just want to repeat
Yeah, I'd
some
have to
of that
agree.
to really internalize it because you made me realize something at the start. You're basically saying they're chasing you. It's not like you are chasing a bunch of 21-year-olds and so on. They are
Absolutely.
coming to
Again, my
you.
girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend chose me. The girl that I'm seeing now, she absolutely chose me. I was at a group thing with her, and she just pulled me to the side and just told me she wanted to date me. And the thing is, I understand. I don't look 47 years old. I certainly don't act 47 years old. But they chose me. It was not a situation where I was like the girls I was seeing before my ex. One of them was 32 and the other one was 30. I had no problem whatsoever with seeing women that were older, like in their 30s. The thing was, what I found was the more dominant and assertive, successful, and in shape I was, the more women who were younger found me attractive and pursued me. And so I'm not going to make excuses for that. And I can show you, if any of you guys think I'm exaggerating, I can show you hundreds of examples on my Instagram. And I can show you examples of guys in their 50s and 60s who took my course who had the same reaction. It's like the more relevant they became, the more younger women were attracted to them.
I'll add another layer to this. So, regardless of you're one example, but regardless of whoever is your age with such an abundance of women, of course you're going to go for the ones who are more attractive, more young, because you have that abundance. Whereas other guys, it's rare for men to have such an abundance, so they just go for whatever is available. So that is the difference I'm understanding now. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, if he didn't have such abundance, maybe he would be going for 30-year-olds or something like that. But because of the abundance he has, of course, he's going for a slightly lower age group than other people his age. That's what I'm realizing
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, I would just say that while those facts are true, I think it's incumbent upon men to stop talking about it and just be about it. Like if you believe and want to follow what Michael was talking about, uh, don't just sit online and talk about it. Don't don't bicker with women about these things and use these things as like stabbing talking points to further along your revenge fantasy because you can't get the women that you really want. That's just like punching shadows, right? It's worthless. It gives you no return. If that's something you want to do, don't don't bother with what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter. I've dated 19-year-olds. I've dated 21. Right now, my girlfriend is older than that because I like wisdom. I don't like like what you were saying, Ice, the insecurity levels, the lack of self-awareness. There's pluses and minuses to every choice, right? So that doesn't exclude women, but but I would say that yes, if you're into what Michael was talking about and you want to live that life, just live that life. Don't sit here and talk about it as though you are trying to I don't know, just throw mud at women to show them like, oh, you're going to be
Absolutely.
undesirable after you're 35. Like, who gives a fuck? If you want to date a 20-year-old, go fucking date a 20-year-old and just shut the fuck up about it.
So here's the thing. I'm not into dating girls under 25. It's just I would prefer, and not even
Right. I'm
prefer.
just
I
saying
just
for
was
those
someone
that
who's really
are.
attractive. No, for sure. For me, it's just that's who I just keep ending up with over and over again. And the thing you said before, I just think there's an opposite end to the spectrum, and that is when a girl has been with so many guys and had her heart broken so many times that she's not really capable, even though she might not be as self aware, uh, or she may be more self aware than, say, the 21-year-old. The problem is she has so much emotional baggage. I've dealt with this before, women in their early 30s who are already putting accusations on me because of something some other
Mhm.
guy did to her. I don't need
Yep.
that either. Of the two, I'd rather deal with the girl who's less self aware, but is also less jaded. And so that's why I've probably had a little bit more success with younger women. Whereas, again, I'm not saying that men don't do shitty things to women. Of course they do, but I'm not going to pay for the crimes of your ex. I've had that exact conversation with girls before. I'm sorry your ex did whatever he did to you, but I'm not paying for his crimes. So if you want to put that insecurity on me or accuse me of something I didn't do, we can move on and I can see somebody else. And that's just been the way it's worked for me. And I find that a little bit less dealing with women who are younger.
Yep.
I did not realize like the horror stories, like and the scale of them. Um, I only look on Reddit just to for some marketing purposes, but I stumbled upon something there, and there are a shitload of people who are stepfathers, basically. They get into a relationship with a woman who has children, and he doesn't have any children of his own necessarily. And then his partner's daughter makes some false accusations when she's like 14 years old or something like that. Just the baggage is completely insane, especially if you're becoming a stepfather. So it naturally you're just gonna know, or it's gonna be very unlikely, less likely that she is a mother herself, and you can find that out very easily too.
Yeah. I mean, the youngest I ever dated, I met her. She was like a model out in London. She was like 19, and like the night we hooked up, like playing some music. It was like Katy Perry's, Teenage Dream was literally playing. Now, there's always going to be, both the pros and the cons of that, right? Is dating someone younger, hooking up, it is very energizing, right? You're with someone that doesn't have like all the emotional baggage. But on to Ice's other point is sometimes that emotional maturity isn't there. So you have to sort of decide what is it that you want. And in my case, like dating someone like that, it's like, okay, we're not gonna have like serious conversation. We're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna do fun things, go on adventures, no need to go into like in depth about like the future, and soulful connections. We're just here to have fun, be young at heart, right? So, but also like the other side is sometimes when I have clients who are potentially more public facing, there is a public backlash, especially in the more political correct discourse of America of the age gap, right? And that doesn't really exist overseas or internationally, I find. Like, oh, you're 40, you want to date someone 20? Completely normal. In America, there is a much public backlash. So if you have someone that is very public facing, like a doctor, and all of a sudden they see him dating someone that's 19, there, or potential sort of like consequences, like, in
Of
social
course.
status, right? So
Like even
one
even
does
Henry
have to be
Cavill
careful.
got some of that.
I think the line is 21. I think the for society, I think the line if I'm dating a 21-year-old and she has chosen to be with me and you have a problem with it, that's your problem. 19, I can kind of understand. I honestly I can understand that. But like for me, I like if I was dating a 19-year-old, you guys wouldn't know shit. I would not be telling any of you. I see you guys see
No.
the fucking the shit that Casey Redbeard is in. You see, he's talking about I like
Oh
to date
God.
18-year-old women. I was like, God, he goes, I like to date teenagers. That was his ad. I was like, that is a
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
angle for an ad,
Mm.
I
bro.
saw that.
That was crazy. That was
But that
crazy,
was that
bro.
was that was self-imposed. Like he didn't even
Yeah,
have to wait for the storm. He brought that in on himself. It's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, for
terrible.
sure.
But that said, like I believe that what you're doing, Michael, is quite good as far as like showing that social proof because that goes along with your branding and what you do and all that stuff. It makes a lot of sense. I for one am not a big proponent of showing anybody socially the woman that I'm with. Like no one has ever seen, like I've never shown off my girlfriend, any girlfriend that I've had on social media ever. Because it's like I don't ever want to bring in like any kind of potential for that. Kind of like in comic books, like the superhero and he's got his girlfriend and he just keeps her away from everything. It's like you don't even want to know who I am. I don't even tell you that I'm Spider-Man. You don't know shit, and you're completely detached from everything that I'm doing. Uh, yes, I don't want to bring in any sort of flack, and then they've got problems. People are saying shit about them, and doxing them, and all that bullshit. It's just not worth their time.
100%. Now it's kind of funny. I saw that thing about Casey, his ad, teenagers, like intentional, of course.
It was
You're
incredible. It
you're
was a great ad. It was just insane. It was insane. How did that shit get approved? That was so crazy to me, bro. I mean, like, look, props to him. He's gonna make a fucking bucket. He's gonna make so much money from that. But like, I thought it was just a really, really interesting a really interesting choice. He goes, I like to date teenagers. And I was like, God dang.
No, I thought
Ah,
originally that he was like 20 something years old, and then he mentioned that in one of the panels before that he's late 30s or something. So I was like, God damn, you're consenting adults. It's not
of
bad,
course.
but
Agreed.
I completely agree with you. Like I would not go. You know how I feel. I wouldn't go below 25 most of the time, but
Yeah.
exceptions, of course, but below
I don't know.
21.
I'd like to see him come to New York and try to do the same thing that he does. And I don't think he would work out very well at all.
He
Or go to
fuck around and
Vegas
get.
or LA.
I like to see him go to Mississippi and try to do that shit. I like to see him
Right.
go to South Texas and try to date
Yeah.
18-year-olds and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
wait,
It's
so
another thing
you know.
if you're in Colombia or Peru or Brazil, where people are like rubbing wooden quarters together.
It's crazy. I think in Italy or something, the age is for yeah, but let's not go down this dark path of stuff. We're beyond that. But goddamn, yeah, that's risky, but I don't know, let's move on. Fuck. How